Okay, let's try this again. If you are doing your famous American project on an iPad or tablet, the key here is to not use the Google Classroom app. The project will not open the correct way if you use the Google Classroom app. You must use a web app like Safari or Google Chrome in order to use the project the right way. So, today I'm going to use Safari on this iPad that I'm borrowing. So I'm going to go down here. Safari is the white square with the blue circle and the red and white arrows pointing opposite right at the very bottom, in between the Message app and the Mail app. So I'm going to use Safari, click that open, and I'm having it go straight to Google for me. Now I already signed into my Gmail earlier, so it's already connected to my it will be connected to my Google Classroom. But what you need to do is go up here at the top where it says google.com, the address bar, click up there and you're going to click on your keyboard, you're going to click delete, and it should get rid of all of it if the whole thing was blue. And then you're going to type in classroom. I want you to type the whole thing in, classroom.google.com, and then click go. Don't click on any of the drop downs, just click go. Then your Google Classroom should pop up. We have yearbook on the left and Mrs. B on the right. So I'm going to click on Mrs. B's class, and my first one here I have famous American presentation example. And so now you're in the assignment. It says example on mine. Yours won't say example. Mine is just the example for this video. So please read all of the directions right there for you. There's lots of helpful information in there that's supposed to help you make it easy for you. But over here on the right where it says your work, that is where your presentation is. Now it's already in there, so you won't have to upload anything before you turn it in. You're going to make changes to the Google Slides that I've created for you. And then once you're done changing that, it'll automatically save it. It should still be here in your work, and then you can turn it in. So I'm going to show you how to make changes to your Google Slides for your project. Mine says Lauren Backwell, and underneath it says Google Slides. And yours is going to say your name. Whatever name you are working in Google Classroom under, that's the name that's going to pop up there automatically. You won't have to change or add your name in there at all. You will add your name into the project, but right here, you won't have to change the title of the attachment. So your name will be on there, whether you work under your name, if all your schoolwork already in Google Classroom has been turned in under your name, or if it's been turned in under your parent's name, that's whose name is going to pop up there. It'll automatically pop up. So then we're going to click on it and we're going to start making changes to it for our famous Americans. So this is our presentation that's loading. It's popping up. It's still loading. If you look at the top, that blue line was going across. We were waiting for it to load all the way. Now it's loaded. And this is your project. If you look on the left side, there are 5 slides. 5 slides that need to be changed. The first one you can already see. It says Famous American Presentation, Spring 2020. Actually, that one doesn't even need any changes, so you really only have 4 slides that you need to do something to. Before we get started, I'm going to show you up at the top are all of your tools. Those little images are things that you might use, but there's only a few that you're actually going to use. So if you start on the left, there's a plus sign, don't need that, but there's an arrow that curves and points to the left. You might need that. That's the undo button. If you do something a little too far, make a mistake, and you need to go back a step, you're going to click on the undo button, and I will show you how that works. Next is the arrow to the right. You won't really need that one. The next button is a printer. You shouldn't need that because you're not going to be printing this. You're just going to be turning this in digitally. And then if you go over a few more, there's an arrow, there's a T. The next one is a gray box with white mountains. That one is for pictures, so you will need that one in order to add the pictures to your project, and I will show you exactly how to use that in just a moment. First, we're going to look at the project, and I told you that first slide you don't have to make any changes to, so you're going to go on the left and click on number 2 slide, click, and it changes to the second slide. Now, it says name a famous American in that top box. We are going to change that. So if we click inside the rectangle and it turns blue, that means we are working in that rectangle only. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click, double click again, double click that time, and you're going to see a blinking line. That blinking line means you can start typing in that spot. But I don't want to start typing in front of those words. I need to get rid of those words first. So I'm going to click once at the end of American. And for this iPad, the keyboard is kind of stubborn. So sometimes I have to click it a few times in order for the keyboard to load. So I'm going to click, a double click. No, lots of clicks. This keyboard doesn't want to load. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to go back to here. Nope, now it disappeared again. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it working. Sometimes, if something's not working, I try a few different things. I work hard to make things work before I give up. So try a few different things. It's okay to play around with things. This is a good time for you to practice those independent skills, and you can even use the undo button. If you really have issues, we can talk about it and we can Zoom and try and figure out what your issues are. But finally, I got my keyboard up. It will be a continuous issue in this video because this iPad is really stubborn with pulling its keyboard up. So I will have to be patient as I work through this project with you and try to pull up the keyboard every time I need to type, just so you know. But I have to work on that patience as I work through it. So I'm going to delete all of that top line, and I'm going to write the name of my famous American. I chose my project to do Ruby Bridges, so I'm going to type capital R for Ruby, capital B for Bridges. Now I have her name, and in the middle it says real picture of famous American. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. So I'm going to go down to the bottom where it says by, and I highlighted the box so it's blue. Here, let me pull it. And I'm going to click a couple times. That was a double click. Click again so it's at the end. Remember, I want to have the blinking straight line in order to type, not that blue highlight. So now I'm going to write my name, Mrs. period, capital B, my name. And then in the middle, we're coming back to that real picture of famous American. This is a picture of your actual famous American, a picture of them. So if you have a picture, we will talk about that in a minute. If you don't have a picture, I'm going to show you how to search on Google for that right now. You don't have to go out of anything. Google Slides already has it set up so you can search Google while you're still in Google Slides. So we're going to go click on that mountain picture that I talked to you about. That's for pictures. Click on that. The first one says upload from computer. So if you have the picture already, you can upload from computer, and I will show you how to do that on the next slide. But I don't have one, so I'm going to show you how to search the web for a picture. So click search the web. On the right, we have a little tab that pops up that says Google Slides. There, I pulled it over a little bit. It says Google Images. So we're going to search Google Images. If you click at the top where it says search for images, you can click there. I'm going to type in Ruby's name, Ruby Bridges. And then I'm going to click return or enter, and it's going to search the internet for a picture of Ruby. So since I'm working on an iPad, what I can do is pick a picture that I want. I'm going to pick this first one on the top left. I'm going to click and drag it in. Click. Oops. Click. Now it has a blue check. Now I'm going to click and drag it in. It's not letting me pick it up. Okay. I clicked on it. Double clicked on it, and it added it right on top of my slide. So you can see that the picture is way too big for my box that I want it to fit in. So if your picture is highlighted in blue, it means you can change the size. If you click the top middle square, that's going to change the top line of the picture. If you click the bottom middle square, it's going to change the bottom line of your picture. And the right middle square is going to change the right line, and the left middle square is going to change the left line. If you choose to use one of the corner squares, that's going to use the top and the side, or the bottom and the side at the same time, which means it'll change the size of the whole picture together. So I don't really need to do that. I'm only going to change the top and the bottom right now. So I'm going to click on the top middle square and drag it down. And I want it to meet with the top of that rectangle that I want it to fit in. So it changed it to a red line to help me line it up. And I'm going to let go, and now it's perfectly under that line. Now I'm going to do that for the bottom and pull it up to meet with that same rectangle. And it's changed red again, so I'm going to let go. Oh, and it messed up for me. So I got to change the top again and drag it down. And now that's really close. It's not perfect, but it's really close. So I'm going to leave it the way it is, because it looks pretty close. You can barely tell that it doesn't fit. So I'm going to move on to my next page. Page number 3, click on it on the left, and I'm going to go to the top where those numbers are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to click and drag it to the left so I can see the whole slide. That's better. Now I'm going to change the top to Ruby Bridges again, so I click, make it blue, click, and I got my line. That didn't take quite as long to get my keyboard up, which is nice, and I'm going to delete this and type her name again. Capital R, Ruby, capital B, Bridges. Make sure you spell their name correctly. You're going to be writing it several times. I want you to make sure that you're spelling all of their name correctly. Then I'm going to go to the bottom and do my name next to by. So I'm going to double click to make my blinking line appear, and then I'm going to double click again to make my keyboard appear, and click one more time to make my line come back. So I'm going to write my name, capital M-R-S, period, Mrs., capital B. And then here is where you're going to put the basic information that you already sent to me. The date of birth, date of death or current age, city and state they lived while famous, family info, and why they are famous. Also on this slide, you're going to put a picture of you dressed up as the famous American. So we will get to that after I fill in all this information about Ruby. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to click in that box. That means I am working in that box. Then I'm going to click at the end of date of birth. And I have my blinking line and my keyboard is still up. So I'm going to start working on that and put Ruby, capital R, Ruby, was born on September 8, 1954, period, because it's a sentence. Then I'm going to go to the next one, date of death or current age. Ruby is still alive. She did not die yet. So I'm going to say she is 65 years old now, period. Another sentence. And then I'm going to go to the end of city and state they lived while famous. And I'm going to get rid of that. If I delete too many things and I accidentally delete the bullet point 2 like this, Then I can go up to that undo arrow at the top where my tools are. The left arrow is undo. I click it one time and it'll bring my bullet point back. So it'll always let you go back one step if you click it one time. If you click it a bunch of times, then you're going to go back a lot. So it depends on how many steps you need to go backwards. So just take it one step at a time. When you click the undo, be very careful with the undo button. So this one is where she lived. So she lived in New Orleans, which is the name of a city, so it gets all capital letters, comma, Louisiana, which is also the name of a state, name of a place, so it gets a capital letter. Oops, and I wanted it to say she lived, so I'm going to go back to lives, put my blinking line there, delete S, and add a D. She lived in New Orleans, Louisiana. So now I finished that one, so I'm moving on to the next one, family info. I'm going to delete all of that. Ruby married Malcolm Hall and had four sons. Okay. And then we're going to go to the next one. Why they are famous. I read this story to you guys, so you guys should remember why she's famous. But she was the first capital African dash American to attend an all dash white school, period. Okay, now I have all of that information, and now I need to add a picture of me dressed up as my famous American. So I'm going to click on that box where I want to add my picture, and I'm going to go back to that photo thing. So if you have the picture already, I have the picture. I'm going to click on the photo thing. I'm going to click on upload from computer, and I'm going to click on photo library and recents. And I know which one it is. It's this one. So I'm going to click and click done, and it's going to pop it in for me. So you can see my picture is way too big, so I need to shrink it to fit in my rectangle. So I need to make it shorter and skinnier. So I'm going to use one of the corner squares. I'm going to tap and drag. Oops, that's just moving it. So I'm going to try this corner. Tap and drag. This is making it smaller. Good. Then I'm going to scroll over at the numbers at the top so I can see the rest of my slide, so I can fit my picture in. I'm going to click in the middle to drag the picture all the way over so I don't mess up any of the sides. See how close I got. Pretty close. So if the red lines match up at the top and the middle, that means it's perfectly centered. For the middle line right there, it's perfectly in the middle of that box, and the top line matches the top, so I'm going to let go. It's still a little big on the bottom and on the right side, so I'm going to take the bottom middle, and I'm going to try and pull that. Oops, it moved. Pull that up. Oh, and it didn't do it. So I'm going to go up to the undo button, make it go back one step. See if it doesn't want to work for me, so I'm going to slide over. See if I can get the side to work for me. Click and drag. Oops, too skinny. Click and drag. Whew, it does not like me, so I'm going to go to the undo button because that's way too skinny. Undo, 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 undo. Okay. Sometimes it might take you a little bit of time to work with this picture. It's easier to do it on a computer. It's harder to do it with your finger on an iPad. So that's why it takes a little bit longer. There, I got to go shorter. Okay, slide over. Okay, now it's the right size, top and bottom. Now I need it just slightly skinnier. Sometimes we just gotta have patience with it. And it doesn't seem like it wants to be perfect today. Nope, way too far. Nope, doesn't like me right now, so I'm gonna do undo. It was really close 2 steps ago. So I'm gonna leave it that way. It's just slightly too big, but you can barely tell. So I'm gonna actually leave it, and I might come back and play with it later, or it's pretty close, so I might just leave it. So I'm gonna go on to the next slide, slide number 4. Same thing as before. I'm gonna change the top, make that ruby. So I click, double click, my keyboard popped up, and type in capital R, Ruby, capital B, Bridges. And I'm going to change my name at the bottom. Double click, click at the end. There's my keyboard. Double click again to get my keyboard. And my name goes here, so capital MRS, period, capital B. So these are the 3 interesting facts about why your famous American is famous. So you sent these to me already. I'm going to start adding them about Ruby right here. So my first one is a very interesting fact. Federal marshals walked Ruby into school for her safety. Okay, so many people were angry at Ruby that the president actually assigned federal marshals to walk her into school every day so that she wouldn't be scared, so that she would be nice and safe. Second interesting fact that has to do with why she is famous is Ruby was the only student in her class that first year. Now I'm using all sentences. Make sure you're using sentences when you write this. And my third interesting fact, delete, just enough to 1. My last interesting fact, my favorite interesting fact, every morning before walking into school, Ruby would stop to pray for the angry people outside. She would actually stop and pray for them every single morning, even though they would say all kinds of mean things to her. So now I'm already done with slide 4. We're moving on to slide 5. This one, I'm going to change the top just like before. Make it say Ruby, delete, Ruby, Bridges. And the bottom, I want it to say my name. Click, 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 click. Mrs. period, capital B. And on this one, you're going to write 2 sentences. Let me scroll over. 2 sentences about why you liked learning about this famous American. You also sent this information to me too. So I'm going to click in that box, make it blue, and then delete. And I'm going to add my 2 sentences. Make sure they're full and complete sentences and they make sense with capital letters and punctuation. I liked learning about such a brave young girl who didn't listen to people who were mean to her, period. Oops, forgot my apostrophe. I'm going to go back, add that in. Come back, didn't listen to people who were mean to her. My second sentence, Ruby shows us how to use kindness and prayer when people are mean to us, period. Good, I have 2 sentences, got my capital letters, got my punctuation. Now the only thing left I have to do is add a picture of the book that I read. So I'm going to scroll over here. Oops, that wasn't supposed to change. There we go. I'm going to scroll over and I'm going to click on the picture box and I'm going to upload from computer because I have it already. Pick photo library, recent, and it's the last one I took. Click done. Ruby Bridges. This is almost perfect for this box. So I'm going to slide it over. It's just a little too long. So I'm going to try and bring it up a little bit. Oops, too far. Okay, I don't think it wants me to move it. So I'm going to try and go wider and shorter. And perfect. So now I'm all done. It automatically saves as long as you're still connected to the internet. It automatically saves. If you want to look through it, you can click at the front and then you can click present up at the top right. It says present. You can click on that and then it'll let you click through it. You can just tap on the right, I believe, and it'll let you click through your presentation. You can read through it. Make sure you have all your things checked. When you're done, there's an X at the top left. And that's it. So then when you're all done, I'm going to click back to the tab that I started with my Google Classroom. So my Google Classroom assignment back here. My work is already there and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to add it there. I didn't have to make anything to go there. All I have to do is click turn in and you're done. You didn't even have to click save because it automatically saves for you. So you click turn in and it's all done. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm sorry this was a long video, but I wanted to make sure you saw every step. And I think that you should be able to finish this just fine, but let me know if you have any questions. Bye.